So they put out the video today of two Democratic officials who basically said that they hired people to mess with the Trump rallies and incite violence, and they brought a bunch of people over, trying to for voter fraud. Let's just say commit voter fraud, right? So this is something that James O'Keefe put out. Should we examine it on the merits? Yeah, let's look at the video. Let's look at the whole video, James O'Keefe. Let's see the whole unedited video, and let's examine it and let the cards fall where they fall. But also do look at the motivations of what this kid is doing and what he's always done. And this is where you ask the question, how did he get on election fraud or voter fraud? It's because Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, their goal has always been to try to prove that Black people and minority communities are out there voting 5 or 6 times, right? They're out there committing actual voter fraud. That's been his entire MO. And because of that, he was able to bring down Acorn using the same tactics. So I think it's an example of why we have to do both. And let's look at the substance of the release. Yeah, no questions asked. But we also should look at who's getting involved in our elections like this on this scale. And there's nothing wrong with asking if it is whoever it is. Let's find out who they are. Let's see what their motivations are. And if they broke a law, let's prosecute them with the extent of the law or whatever. But that does not change the substance of the leaks itself.
Well, here's the thing about that. And I would say that the motivations behind the person exposing the corruption or whatever becomes less important if you have less reason to believe that they have tampered with the information in some way. When it comes down to James O'Keefe, he's a scumbag in literally a pile of burning trash. And to speak frankly. And so I don't care what Project Veritas releases, because frankly, he's proven himself to be a hack and he's been sued and convicted, I guess you could say. He's been sued and convicted of manipulating evidence to give under false pretenses in order to in the Acorn case, it was forced to pay damages to one of the Acorn employees. So we know that he is willing to manipulate the truth. When it comes down to WikiLeaks scenario, there's no reason to believe that these emails have been tampered with in any way. There's no reason to believe that there is anything in the contents of these emails that is
absolutely, yeah,
in some way misleading. At a certain point, we have to come to terms that if someone had the motivation to, say, destroy the Democratic Party, all they had to do was show what they were doing, then that's not a reason to question their motivations. If all it takes for you to sort of destroy something or to invalidate something or is to literally just show what they're doing behind the scenes, then I'm sorry. Like what?
Here's my response to that. And I agree. I think I agree with probably 90% of what you said, but here's I'm not asking about the substance of it. Let's evaluate the substance of it as it comes out and let it come out. However, when you present yourself as you're doing this for democracy, or you're doing this for XYZ, you're doing these for all these noble reasons and transparency and all this, but your only focus, where are your leaks on the Republican Party? Where are your leaks on the Green Party? Because it would be great information. I think there'll be plenty of things for us to unpack from all of those that would be revealing to the nation as a whole. Like, this is something that we can actually benefit from, but I've yet to see any substance, but just Donald Trump's tax returns, right? For that 1 year, 95. That's all we've gotten. So for me, that suggests that maybe you're not out here just for transparency. Thank you for what you've done, but you're not really being you're not really releasing information to us. You're releasing the information that you want to get, and you can't tell me that's all you get. Like, you're WikiLeaks. You got to have some of everything at this point.
Let me come in on there though. Does it really matter? Does it really matter why somebody does a good deed or does good works? Does it really matter?
I think it does, in the sense of where we in the role that we placed them.
It might matter to that person.
No, it matters. It matters in the sense of if we're doing something. Listen, WikiLeaks is doing a good thing. Let's be clear. I like what they're doing, but they're also presenting this as we are not trying to influence your election. We're just putting out information. Well, that's not absolutely true. You're just putting out one particular set of information, which we should get. Fine, great. But where's the rest of the information? And if you're not getting anything else, there is interest. There should be interest. We should know what these other parties are talking about and what they're doing. I want to see it all. If we're talking about releasing information for people to decide and make decisions for themselves, you can't have an entire campaign where all you do is let go of Democratic information and don't let go of anybody else's. Are you not interested at all?
I have a question here.
I don't. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Didn't I think this was years ago, but didn't WikiLeaks release something on the Bush administration like years ago? I mean,
yes, they did.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember that vaguely. So
yeah, they did back in what year was it? Somebody.
The helicopter shooting, was that the Bush administration?
I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
That was the first time I saw
Richard Cohen.
With Chelsea Manning. Is that the thing?
Was those from his leaks?
No, Chelsea. I'm getting my years mixed up now. But yes,
Okay,
I think we can all agree. Yes.
Was WikiLeaks involved in the torture program? Wasn't that with them as well?
That was a different set of leaks.
See, we got so far.
Yeah, we got so far that I don't think none of us can answer that question. Somebody in the audience can answer. Leave it in the comments section. What was the first time we heard from WikiLeaks and was it connected? I think we can all agree that yes, they have done something on the Bush administration.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a problem with that kind of logic, though, that we assume in our heads that that the other parties must be equally as guilty.
No, I don't. We can't evaluate that. I'm saying we're not given the opportunity to evaluate that because what have they released on the Republican Party or the Green Party in this election? We can't even evaluate that.
That implies there must be something worth releasing.
Listen, come on. Some of the stuff now, let's be sure, DNC leaks was not WikiLeaks. That was Guccifer 2.0, I believe, right? What Guccifer released in the DNC leaks was actually very substantive, and it was something that we could have used in the primaries, to be quite honest with you. Now, a lot of the stuff that we're getting from go ahead. Oh no, that was my echo. A lot of stuff we're getting from WikiLeaks, some of it has been more important than others. A lot of it has been just a trove of email communications back and forth. So not all of it has been substantive. What I'm saying is, are we saying that there has to be something negative? They haven't released a whole, I mean, we can't even evaluate it. There's no effort. And to me, that undermines their own case, right? This undermines what they're trying to present themselves as.
I don't think so, because I think undermining their case would be releasing information from every party just to be even. If no, that's not is in no way comparable.
But how can you say, but you're making the conclusion that there is nothing there, or that we can't assume that there's something there. What I'm saying is we're not given the opportunity to evaluate that for ourselves, and that is a problem. We should be able to evaluate it for ourselves. The only people we have an insight to in the inner workings of their party and the shenanigans, for lack of a better word, is the Democratic Party. Good. What I'm saying is, why don't we have it for for every other party? Because we should be able to evaluate it for ourselves and make that decision for ourselves and not have them bottleneck what they give us.
Well, I mean, I feel I'm sorry to say, I'll go real quick, Nick. I feel that, say they did release just vague amounts of information on every party, I think that given what we know about the Democratic Party at this point, that the media narrative would have been focused on everything that the Green Party was doing wrong, everything that Trump was doing wrong. I don't even know if Gary Johnson has email, considering his views on the government and like the internet.
But so, you do know that's not a logical argument against them not releasing it, though.
No, I know it's not a logical argument. I disagree. It's a logical argument. I think it's a I think if you examine the way the mainstream media works right now, and the fact that they won't even address the emails appropriately, that to simply release emails for the sake of releasing emails, regardless of how pressing they may be for this election, would just result in the emails of the Democratic National Convention. I mean, sorry, the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC. So we can't know what is it. And I agree that is a press problematic. We should have more transparency for all parties. But if this person is saying, or if they just don't have it, or if they don't care.
Okay, so let's simplify it. Let's simplify it.
It's an unknown.
Let's simplify it. And then I have one sentence, and you can get in there, Nick. Let's simplify it. What you just said constitutes an agenda agenda has a negative connotation, but it constitutes an agenda to expose information on the Democratic Party. Right?
We can't know that though, because that assumes that there is something of merit to expose on every party that is equal to or of greater value than what's going on in the Democratic Party right now, and that's something we can't know.
But if
it's only an agenda insofar as you assume that there is something else going on.
No, it's an agenda in the case that they are not allowing us, they are not giving us the opportunity to make that decision for ourselves.
But no, because I mean, fair enough. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have another. I think it's a question here. Does WikiLeaks? They don't get the leaks themselves. I mean, people turn them in, don't they? I mean, I don't know what the process is there, but
yeah, no, that is the process. And so then tell us, because Julian Assange would not answer this question directly when he was on. It was some British show that I saw recently. He would not answer it directly, whether or not he had information on the Republican Party. But if he would just come out and say in WikiLeaks, we do not have emails on the Republican Party, I guarantee you by the end of that week, they would have emails on the Republican Party, right? But he hasn't just come out and said that.
I mean, it would be definitely nice, I think, that, I kind of agree with Ben on this one. I'd like to see everybody's stuff, but seeing how kind of long it takes them to get things situated.
Yeah, and this is, I don't mean to cut you off, but you just reminded me of something important. Like, this is one thing that Edward Snowden disagrees with WikiLeaks on, right? They don't curate at all, right? They just do a mass dump with a pretty good search engine in it, and then they highlight they highlight what they feel is important. So if they're and they do their, I think they do their due diligence to verify that the emails are real, at least the data that they get is legitimate, and then they release it, right? They go through that process, but they don't really curate the emails and say, okay, these
I'm
are
not for sure.
Somebody's or two of you are breaking up.
I think that might be Nick and Jamie.
Did I lose you two? I think we lost them. All right, folks. We've actually gone well above and beyond. Nick, are you back? Jamie, are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, my voice is probably pixelated.
Yeah, it was for a second. We're not gonna build Rome tonight. We kind of, with no rhyme or reason, we just had an online here debate on a lot of important issues, far more substantive than any politician will ever give America credit for being able to handle. But here it is. This is what it was. It's my wife's birthday as of midnight. I got to go home and say hello to my wife for her birthday. I'll let all of you get the last word. Just give me like 15 seconds. I'm holding you 15 seconds, and then tell people how to get up with you, starting with Brandon. We're going to order Brandon, Jamie, and then Nick.
You can catch me on Project Sanity tomorrow night from 8 to 9. We have a great interview for you. And James O'Keefe is a literal pile of trash.
I could co-sign that. Go ahead, Jamie.
I'm on Twitter at Pixie on Moon, and I don't really go on any shows or anything, and y'all can see why.
Well, we've enjoyed having you, Jamie.
When I talk.
We enjoy having you, and you're welcome back. Nick, give us 15 seconds, your last word, and how people can find you.
Okay, what I was going to say is motives are not necessarily as important as action. Action is really what manifests, that affects everybody. Their motives are less important to me. And then also I was going to say, if you want to catch up with me, you can find me on the Takedown. I will be there the first Monday of next month. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff that was discussed here. Absolutely.
And my last word is that I agree. Motives don't really matter until they do matter. And if you are presenting yourself as just unbiased and not, you're just giving us information, then give it all to us. But I think motivations matter, are at least worthwhile examining, especially when you're dealing with somebody like James O'Keefe, who is a literal pile of human feces. And I don't care if he had video, the real video of who shot JFK. James O'Keefe is a piece of shit who can burn in hell for the rest of his life, and I don't care. Bye. And if you're wondering who the hell James O'Keefe is, just Google James O'Keefe and Acorn. And I want you to see why we agree that he is a literal pile of trash. Good night.